Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, at the start of the pandemic, I issued a major warning. And that warning was that if we allow the U.S. government the ultimate authority to declare when and when you can't leave your home, what you have to wear on your face, and where you get to go and when you get to go and who is essential and not essential, I warned that once we give the U.S. government that kind of authority and power, they will keep the power and they will move well beyond that into uncharted territory. And I've got a very disturbing piece of legislation that Democrats are now introducing that will make vaccine mandates literally look like a walk in the park. I am literally disturbed above and beyond. But now this Democrat over in Pennsylvania plans to introduce legislation, and he's already put forth a memorandum stating that you're only allowed to have up to 3 children, and after that, you have to be sterilized. Oh, and by the way, if you're 40 years old or over, well, it's an automatic sterilization. But before I get into the report and show you all the details, I want to remind you, get on over to hidewithlisa.com. Look, if you don't have a VPN, today is the day to get one. I have one on my cell phone, my kids' cell phone, and basically I turn it on so I can surf the internet without anybody knowing what I look at. In today's day and age, you absolutely need to have that. So get to hidewithlisa.com and check it out today, and make sure you protect yourself with a VPN. All right, so let's get into this little piece of Democrat legislation that you desperately need to hear about. And for the first article here, I want to go to thegatewaypundit.com. Pennsylvania House Democrat introduces forced sterilization, 3-child limit legislation. This is very recent, published October 4th. And here's what he has to say. Pennsylvania Democrat Christopher Rabb sent out a memorandum to all House members regarding his legislation that will enforce reproductive, he calls it responsibility. The proper word would be sterilization among men. The bill will force men to undergo vasectomies within 6 weeks from having their 3rd child or upon their 40th birthday, whichever comes first. Now let's go straight to the horse's mouth, because I want you to see this information for yourself. Here it is. And we are on legislative.state.pa.us. This is the actual website for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and you can see the memorandum posted just a couple of days ago on October 2nd by Representative Christopher M. Rabb. And he goes on and he gives an explanation here. I'll allow you guys to read it on your own, but he says here, I will be introducing legislation that will require all inseminators, he says, to undergo vasectomies within 6 weeks from having their 3rd child or their 40th birthday, whichever comes first. Further, the legislation will allow Pennsylvanians to take civil actions for unwanted pregnancies against inseminators who wrongfully conceive a child with them. It goes on. This legislation will empower Pennsylvanians to enforce this new law by offering a $10,000 reward for reporting to the proper authorities those scofflaws who have not complied with the statute within the allotted time frame. In other words, if your friend, family member, or loved one just so happens to break the law, you know, that they're 40 years old and they're not getting their vasectomy or getting sterilized, then you can report them to the government and they will have a fine. This is called communism. This is just the same kind of stuff that Hitler did when he sent the youth after their parents, and the youth were told to tattletale on their parents, you know, for harboring Jews. Well, now we have friends and family members who are going to be encouraged to tell on people who have had more than 3 kids or don't have, you know, aren't sterilized, you know, shortly after they turn 40 years old. This is what communism looks like. And I get so frustrated at people who are the liberals and the Democrats who are clapping this on as if this is okay. We're going to save the planet. We're going to save humanity from those pesky humans, right? This is all part of the climate initiative style stuff that we read in Agenda 2030 and that we read from the United Nations and the World Health Organization. And guess what? This is exactly what they do in communist China. Here we have CBSnews.com in major shift. China raises the per couple children limit to 3 from 2 children prior. Yeah, in China, you were first only allowed to have 1 child. That kind of blew up in their faces. And then they said, okay, we'll go ahead and allow 2. And now, as of a couple months ago, they've got a major shift. And now they're saying, okay, it's okay to have 3. Thank you, communist China, for letting me have children and telling me how many I have to have. I mean, it's baloney. I have a much stronger word for that. Go to Restricted Republic, by the way. If you're not there, get there. RestrictedRepublic.com. I can't tell you. I've got so much information. We're limited to what we can say. I'm limited on time. I'm limited on all kinds of stuff, but I put 5 exclusive videos there, and you're not going to want to miss them because there's so much more I want to tell you, and I get it all on restrictedrepublic.com. Do the censorship here on YouTube anyhow, but get to restrictedrepublic.com and check it out. But anyway, this is terrifying. And the problem with these liberals and Democrats, they've never studied communism. They have no idea what's ahead. So they just sit back and clap their hands as our country gets superseded. And again, I warned you, if we allow these mandates and measures and now these forced vaccines, that's what it is. You know, when you tell somebody that they have to lose their job or get vaccinated or whatever, that's what's happening here. This is what communism is all about, the government controlling every aspect of your life. And now they want to put through how many children you're going to have, how many you're allowed to have, because you get the blessing of the government. And of course, if you haven't had any by age 40, well, then within 6 weeks, you need to get a vasectomy, right? This crazy stuff. And you know what Anthony Fauci has to say about all of it? Here's Dr. Fake Fauci, in my opinion. The Blaze.com. Dr. Fauci declares Americans should give up their individual freedom for the greater good of society. Give it all to us, the supreme dictators. And by the way, if Anthony Fauci had his way, it would be full authoritarian rule. He has vouched for that on multiple occasions. Again, you want to get to the bottom of all of that, get to restrictedrepublic.com. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.